Hi, this is Alcione Silva, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Now for part 2 of our Florida Project episode on the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
I'm going to add someone in who very much dabbles in the nostalgia side of things, and he's been very patiently waiting. So while he comes into the stream, I will pedal furiously. But Tommy Henderson, if he comes in, he's mad passionate on error cards. So printing error cards, and he hunts them down and he collects them. So any moment now, I believe we'll have Tommy.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
Where are you calling from?
So right now I am on the border between Lebanon and Syria.
Whoa.
Nice.
Sounds like a nice Sunday afternoon stroll for you.
So we've been in Lebanon for maybe about 18 months or so.
Okay.
I lived through all of the protests. They were burning tires in front of our house. Economic meltdown that's going on right now, and we are still here.
And you're still kicking and screaming. Do you actually keep your card collection there?
I do not.
Wait. No, Ian. That is not a segue. That does not work.
Well, no. I was thinking if you had one of your Pelican cases, it could probably survive it. Jeez. Look at this case that's behind Norrin. Just look at this thing.
Case.
So good.
Okay.
That is how you collect cards in a war zone.
This thing can stand a nuclear drop. Okay,
that's the thing. You could drop a 100-pound bomb on Norrin's house, and that case and its contents would survive.
That's why you make fun of me. I love it. I don't care.
Norrin, do you call that the football? Do you call that the football?
I'm locked and ready, baby. Okay, I got a balcony. There's the fire. I just toss it out the window, and I go retrieve my cards. Okay, you all laughing, but they will survive.
They will survive. The wife and cats will have to take their chance. The cards. So Tommy, I'm very quickly going to introduce you to. Oh, I can see you. Hello.
Hey,
there we go. Marvelous.
I finally figured out how to do it. I was like, oh, how do I do the video?
Oh, there he is. Wonderful. So who have we got? Who have we got on this thing? We've got Greg McLaughlin from the Rebel Based Card Podcast. We've got Chris Mixer, sketch card expert and writer for Non-Sport Update. We've got Andre Orsch, sketch card artist extraordinaire. We have Mark Bartel from Australia.
G'day, Tommy.
And some crazy guy that collects Silver Surfer sketches.
There he is.
Present as a bomb-proof case.
Exactly. Literally a bomb-proof case. You should send that to Tommy. I think he could do with that. So Tommy, tell us what you collect, because I'm fascinated by this, and I've been dying to talk to you more about it. It's a perfect opportunity to do so.
Yeah, so I started off with just basically like the normal like 90s Marvel kid comic book type thing. The 1990 series was where I first started. And then just basically collected anything that I could get my hands on. I remember when I was a kid, first really got into the X-Force, the Liefeld stuff. And
Nice.
went with my friend to the store, and I didn't have any money. He lent me some money. I ended up getting the Liefeld the signature card for that X-Force series.
Ooh, nice pull.
And was just hooked after that.
That's a crazy pool, man.
I know. And then I just kind of stopped collecting for a little while, kind of got back into it, but then coming over here had to really kind of reduce everything. And so kind of started, what do I really want to collect? And I really got into these metal premiere or the prototypes and came into this couple of the Spider-Man ones. It took me a while. Got an Elvis one, kind of a weird one, but it fit. It was
That's
the
so
same,
cool.
Yeah, it was the same type of thing. And then found a Batman one. So yeah, and then I found out recently it was maybe from a company called Foxsun, and that there's actually 2 of the Spider-Man ones. So now I'm going to be hunting down the other Spider-Man. That's gonna be the next one.
Your eBay search feature, your saved searches have just like updated. Like, all right, time to check those dots.
Yes, and I probably check too often because I'll be like every like couple of hours. I'm like, I wonder if somebody posted something. Get like obsessive over it, but I was able to store most of my collection at my parents' house, with a couple of the really expensive things going to the bank and just getting left at the bank while we were over here. And so just I haven't been able to buy as much, but when I do, I just get it sent to mostly my folks' house.
Cool. Whereabouts do you come from? Where's
So originally from Tallahassee, Florida, so North Florida. Do love Florida.
No, I hate Florida. It's the worst place ever. But I'm from Miami. So I was born and raised in Miami. So I'm a local. So yeah.
And then I spent the last 10 years, or maybe I guess 13 years, was in Georgia. And we were working with primarily Syrian refugees up in Atlanta with a resettlement. And then decided we were just going to take the big plunge and came over here where they were having a huge Syrian thing, Syrian crisis. So we came over to Lebanon. That's how we ended up over here.
Yeah, cool. I think Chris, you're from that neck of the woods, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just north of Atlanta in Woodstock. And I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida.
Nice.
Nice.
3 Florida kids on the air, man.
And well, technically, we did live in St. Pete back 01 to 03. My son was actually born in St. Pete, so he's a Floridian, although we're in Chicagoland now. So.
Oh, that's so funny.
Is there anyone else on the call that can lay claim to having genetic ties to Florida? Dre, Mark.
Oh
I've
yeah.
never been to Florida.
I have family in Florida. My auntie's in Florida.
There you go.
This is the Florida episode. That's exactly the title. There we go. We got it.
The Florida Project.
The Florida Project. Ah, such a good movie.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, so
Haven't seen
good.
it.
So
Is that
good. One of
is
the
Willem
best.
is Willem Dafoe in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's
He's-
worth watching in anything, quite
Killed
frankly.
it. Great piece. Really, really good.
Cool. So Tommy, your error card search fascinates me.
Yes.
No end. It's like there's so many different angles to the way people collect, and I don't think I've ever come across anyone who had such a focus on it. As you, what are your kind of your most bizarre ones, I guess? that you
Yeah.
found?
So one of my favorite ones was the one that I talked to you about yesterday, Ian. It was
Yes.
So it comes from Marvel Metal, comes from the 95 series. And I remember at my house, everything comes with a story, but I was at my house and I was opening up these packs, and all of a sudden I pull out the Spider-Man and I'm like, something is not quite right. And so on this particular error card, what they did was they flipped the one of the foil layers that says metal on it, and they flipped it upside down and superimposed it, so it's actually a different character. So the Spider-Man one I have actually has the foil from the I believe it's the Rhino card, and so it's just kind of a cool little. It's just a very interesting error.
Wow, that's a really cool error. I've never
That's
heard anything
cool.
like that. That's really awesome.
And then the one of my other favorites, it's another Spider-Man. This one I actually had to buy, but it was from the gold Spider-Man gold foil, the Walmart ones.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did is they did the same type of thing. They took the Spider-Man outline or the lizard outline, and then the foil for the middle of it is a Spider-Man. It's identical to the one that's on eBay right now. I think the guy's wanting like $20 million or $10
Oh,
million.
you know.
Nothing stupid. But if you wanted to see like a picture of it, that's what it looks like.
Right.
And so for me, I collected almost all the sets. And I just wanted something different, and so the error cards kind of open that up, and just I don't know. I like the different ones that they have.
It's super admired, man. Like everyone loves the error cards that you collect in the posts and stuff like that. Like just very cool, man.
I think it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. There is a current, excuse me, sorry, there is a current one that someone that we chat to, Jonathan Dunn. He goes after he was in the character club. He's Mr. Fussum. So you've heard us talk about Mr. Fuxum, who's a guy who went big into collecting Fleer Ultra X-Men 2018. Well, Jonathan's is big into Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. He spotted one where there's the Royal Foil cards, and they're 3 different levels of rarity. I think they're of 99, of 50 and 25, I want to say.
Wow.
And each of the backgrounds is a different pattern on the foil, but some of the characters use the pattern from the more common foil on the back of behind the character on the foils that are less common.
Wow.
So you can be looking at it and thinking it looks like the less rare card, but it's numbered on the back to 25.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating one. So it's interesting that they do still creep through, because in comics they're quite a collectible thing already. I just not experienced them. There's the famous McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man 1, where they printed the Lizard in some copies, and I believe he was various different colours. I think in one of them he was purple, in one of them he was blue. And they're quite sought after. I think there are plenty of them around. Greg, does that happen much on the Star Wars card scene? Do you find error cards cropping in? I imagine you would, but do people go for them that you've seen?
The most famous of the error cards is in the original set in '77. There was the C-3PO that had the way it was shot or the way it was constructed. It looked like he was quite excited to see everybody.
I've heard about this.
And then they ended up having to reprint that one, and actually in the Canadian, I think OPG set, they caught that and they changed it. But I think as I was thinking, some of the errors that I have seen, I have are mainly the miscuts. I do have a Empire Strikes Back one where there's part of a bottom missing, and it's got top of another looked like it was just offset cut. I would say any of the Canadian folks would say basically almost all the OPG cards for Star Wars were not greatly cut, and but it kind of depends on what you're considering to be error. Interestingly enough, if you follow like the living sets on the top site, there's been twice I've caught that the movie that the character that Chris Penix, he's been doing those sketches,
the living set,
and they've been releasing weekly. But in this one, they had a General Veers from Empire Strikes Back, but the movie they had it listed was Return of the Jedi. Because these are, they print them after they get their orders in. So, I think there's been twice where I've caught it and I've let Chris know and he's let Topps know. I don't know if I'm the sole one that's pointed this out. Someone else did probably. But those are things like I almost feel now that I don't want to let them know. I'm almost like
just to get it,
just to get the air. I'm like, so there's that tug and pull of like, I would really like to have something that's wrong because it makes it a more unique card.
Yeah.
That's then just this random card you would get that'd be part of it. Now it has this story to it. So
yeah, I think so I have one rare one here, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I have this Surfer here, which has this really nice foil effect from Heroes of the Silver Age from Jack Kirby, and it's really nice little insert there. And the really cool thing about an error card I picked up from here is that the image was completely pushed to the side, and it left that whole foil mark right on there.
Yeah.
So when you look, so like you were talking about those miscuts, right? But then when you have that foil effect, all you get is the effect, not necessarily the other card that was on the printing sheet. So
That's cool.
Yeah, so I really like that. Yeah.
Tommy will be making you an offer for that as soon as we finish recording.
I was just about to tell Tommy, hey Tommy, if you got any Error Silver Surfer cards, just let me know, brother. It's okay.
I will honestly, when I get back to the States and I'm going to be pulling out the collection and hunting through it, if I find anything, I will definitely let you know.
You're too kind, man.
It was probably about Ian, about 2 months ago, I spotted some of the just these weird, almost like home things, but they were actually done professionally, and they were these cards, and one of them is Fantastic Four. It was from the George Perez book, the Accent on the Second E book. And it's printed on a metal card, and I picked you up a copy of one of those.
No, you did not.
I did.
You're too kind. That's so nice.
So yeah, it's in the States right now. And as soon as I get back, I was going to mail it over to you.
No, just send me an address. I'll go pick it up. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Nice try. I wondered if you were going to do that. One of the things, as being quite protective of the way my character, Black Cat, for anyone who didn't know,
Best kept secret in the podcast.
Best kept secret in the podcast. Yeah, right. You lousy bums. So this is kind of for Chris and Dre, really. I get funny when people draw Black Cat without eyeballs on her mask, because when I was growing up, when I was a lad, Black Cat, that was kind of an eyepiece, but it wasn't something that covered her eyes in the way that Spider-Man has these things that covered her eyes.
Yeah. Right.
So I always kind of, is there a version of Black Cat maybe in the game verse where she doesn't have eyeballs? Because I've been seeing it for years before the game kind of existed, where people have drawn Black Cat and they don't draw eyeballs on her. Yeah, for me that's an error. that's a sketch error card.
Black Cat with no eyes.
No eyes, just empty sockets. Just like, what's going on?
They're just kind of white.
They're kind of white. See, I love that weird. I love that stuff. It's so funny to me. You crack me up because we were looking at a sketch and I sent Ian a link and I was like, "Yo, check out this Black Cat. It looks great." He goes, "No, there's no eyes." And I looked. It was weird because I was kind of like, "What?"
But it was an awesome sketch.
No, it is an awesome sketch.
It's just odd.
Yeah, because I never thought about it. Like I have my beefs. It's funny because I guess they're collector pet peeves. Yeah. Right. That'd be a good episode. That's something to think about. Like there are pet peeves I have about certain things for sure. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, I'll tell you from the artist's point of view, I draw the eyes last, like the inside of the eyes. And there's quite a few times where I totally nerfed a card by messing up the eyes, which is one of the reasons I do everything in acrylic now, because you can just paint over it. But I would imagine that some people don't do it just because it's such a small detail that could just totally ruin the eyes. Like if they're not perfectly symmetrical or the distance isn't right, it'll completely destroy the card. And there's really, when I was younger, I used to do a lot of portrait art. It's really the eyes that make a character look like the character. If you get the eyes right, it doesn't matter. The ears could be like on the same side of the face. It doesn't matter. It's going to look like the person that you're doing. But if you mess up the eyes, that's it.
Well, it's so funny you say that because I always look at you and I have been following each other forever on Instagram. Funny enough, and that's what always gets me about your work all the time is those looks. You know what I mean? Like you have a two-faced one you're working on that you're doing a video of, and you just have the complexity across both sides of his face, and you can tell I can see it now. That's really great, man.
Yeah, but it's
that's supposed to be Matthew McConaughey. Nobody can really see it.
Oh, I see it.
I think the reference photo that I used of him is not a common look for him, and that's why. But I was looking for something that's dead on.
Oh, I see it in the smile a little bit now.
We will obviously, for those listening and
sorry.
after the fact, we will put all these pictures on the tasting notes. I'm going to have my work cut out for me this week. I can feel it. But that's why I really love this one, because you've absolutely nailed the eyes.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what actually You know, for black cat cards. I mean, this is why this one by Cool as Heck is his kind of is just the. It doesn't really come out that well on the shine, but the eyes absolutely nail it for me.
Yeah, I see the picture though. It looks really good.
Yeah, and it just that for me makes whether a sketch card kind of comes alive or not. But it is, you know, everything's different, and you know, Dre, I know you when you're working on these sets, you've got an enormous amount of cards to push out in sometimes not a lot of time to do them. So the fact that you manage to do, you know, what you do so well is just astonishing to me. What I mean, masterpieces. If that is indeed what you're working on, sorry, I can't believe we're tiptoeing around this. It's hilarious, but legally you can't say what you're working on. But for on average, how long? What's kind of lead time do you have to create the cards?
So for this set, which I'm not going to say what it is, we actually got a really long lead time. I think I got the cards end of January, early February, and they're due back late May. And they wanted me to do like I'm going to say 140. And I said, there's no way I can do that just because, well, not knowing about COVID, I had a lot of travel planned. And then I kind of scaled it down to 100. And I said, yeah, I'll be able to bang that out. So that was actually a really good lead time. For Far From Home, I think I had 5 weeks, and I did 40.
Wow.
Yeah, some of them are better than others. I mean, this upcoming set is the biggest set I've done to date because it's 100. It's actually 99. They miscounted. It's only got 99. But that one had a really good lead time. But because of COVID and everything that's going on in the world and having an excess of free time, I've been spending way too long on these.
No, sir. You're spending just the right amount of time. Okay.
No, like way too long. Exactly. And I'm actually starting to get a little concerned that I'm not going to be able to hit that end of May deadline.
It's like the Voldemort of card sets. It's set that cannot be named.
Yeah, don't name it. Everyone knows what it is, and everyone knows who's working on it, and
can't
name it.
Yeah. So, Chris, how many artists have you contacted to figure out how many sketch cards they've done over the years?
Well, I mean, my favorite website, which I'm sure you visited, is I'm looking it up now. NS Lists. Do you use that website?
Oh, no. Jeff Allender's House of Checklists. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I am blown away every time they can have an artist with a completed number of sketch cards listed next to them. I have no idea how they get that information for that many different artists.
I have no clue. I have no idea how they do it.
On, if I remember correctly, on the Rittenhouse sets, didn't they?
Yes, because they're amazing.
Possibly, am I getting confused with actual autographs?
Correct. Some sets were good enough to do that, but I'm still amazed that people can track down the information for the sets that don't publicize that. But I will say that, Andre, you have a side business. If you will buy the Black Cat sketches with no eyeballs, you could probably draw eyeballs and double your profits.
That's a good suggestion, man. I take that seriously. That's up there.
I will. Well, listen, if you do start that side gig, I will direct a portion of my furloughed government wages over to you forthwith, just to skip my account and just go straight to yours.
So it's funny that you should say, and this is something that I was thinking about earlier this week, is I feel personally that I've improved significantly from the first set that I've done to the set that I'm completing now. And going back to some of the cards that I've done for the first set, I actually started looking at ComC and eBay to see some of them that are maybe going for sale, at a low price, that I'm going to buy back and redo.
Oh, really?
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So obviously I don't want to go in and drop like $1,000 buying old cards back, but I'm going to keep my eye out on a few of them. Because there's definitely some of them that I had to rush to do, and I would like to redo or correct, or we're looking at them now, I'm like, oh, the eyes are totally off on that one, or it's missing a finger, it's got an extra finger.
Well, you can always sell those on your eBay page. I see a lot, Fred Ian, who, sells his APs through his eBay stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool idea. So if someone follows you and is a collector of yours, and you pull those sketches back, that's kind of a cool little version of an AP.
Sketch buybacks.
Sketch buybacks.
What a wonderful concept.
Buyback and remarks. I don't know.
I love that. That's really cool. That might be really fun.
That's really interesting. I've only got one example of that, and it's the Tony Perner card that I owned from Masterpieces 2017, I think, and it was originally done in black and white, but he coloured it later. But cool. he himself did it, and I think if my memory serves, I think it's signed on the back as well with a different date. But sure enough, Kevin St. Jack had an image in his digital library of archive of sketches of the original black and white version of it. So, which I'd never seen, because I think I put it up. We had a spontaneous Perner day happen on the group about 6 months ago, where everyone started posting Tony Perner sketches. And Greg, if you haven't seen Tony and Elaine Perner's artwork, you definitely should.
Godlike, man.
It's
absolutely
astonishing.
Godlike.
Kevin saw it and sent me the black and white version of it, a low res image of it, because it's from a while back. But I find that absolutely fascinating, Dre, as a concept to do.
Cool. I don't know how UD would feel about that. But
I don't know. I mean, it's on the third market.
I think aftermarket.
Yeah,
Aftermarket's one of these weird things. I saw there was a massive flare up on a group a few months ago where people were talking about someone who, it was a different property, and someone whose cards had been purchased, drawn over and or rubbed out and then reissued or something like that. I can't remember what it was now.
Oh, actually, Ian, it was Kelly Baber who he only works in black and white. And someone had taken that sketch and colorized it.
That's right.
And then tried to resell it. And so, there was a huge dust up over that. And, I think in some cases the artist sometimes has to kind of go, once it's out there, I've kind of released it. But, it's everybody's got a little different interpretation. But, it's one of those things. If you want to add on to something that's currently within your right, if you're the owner of the card. But I think if you're trying to pass this off as additional work or work that the artist did, then you're really going out of bounds.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, for me,
you don't take somebody else's work. No.
Yeah, and that's exactly the discussion we had. Yeah.
So if it's your artwork, then and you buy it back, I think that's. And Chris, you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's kind of the aftermarket. That's what I understand aftermarket to mean in terms of sketches.
I don't think anyone minds aftermarket as long as it's clearly identified what it is and what happened to the card. But like you said, it's when you're trying to pull off a colored card that wasn't originally colored as pack pulled, or some other kind of shady business that people get upset about.
Agreed.
Yeah. Because I remember there was on the Rittenhouse sets, I'm going back maybe 10 plus years now, there were some awesome what they called jam cards where two artists had done the card. So one of them had started it and the other one might have colored it, or they might have done different characters interacting. And Ree Owens, good evening, Ree, if you're listening, did a number of those with a number of different artists at the time. And that's just one example. I think there were other artists who did it, and that I find fascinating. And so they were kind of both, it hadn't even been released yet. They're just two different artists worked on the card before it went into the packs and therefore the set.
Yeah, see, that makes more sense to me. I love that idea.
Which I find fascinating.
There are a couple obscure stories where artists will be at a comic convention sitting beside each other table by table, but working on their cards because they have some free time. I've seen it before where they're actually drawing their sketch cards while they're at a comic convention. And some of the artists next to them get so interested that they either share coloring duties or inking duties or cross over on each other's cards just because they're in the same spot at the same time while working on them.
Right.
Wow. That's so cool.
That's cool.
That is absolutely fascinating. So who knows? We could all own a sketch that someone incredibly famous has worked on, and maybe just done the final few brushstrokes, and it's never been credited.
There's
Everyone's
someone on
searching through their
Instagram I
collections now.
follow that I can't remember who it is offhand. I think it was at SDCC last year, and he posted that he was in the lobby at the hotel early morning working on one of his drawings. And as he was working, somebody creeped up behind him and kind of watched him ink. And then when he turned around, it was Todd McFarlane. And then Todd inked the hand of one of his characters for him.
What?
I gotta find a post. I'll share with you guys. That was just a really cool story.
Oh, that's so awesome.
That is fascinating. We'll have to put that on the tasting notes for sure.
Oh,
love
that's
it.
so cool.
Yeah, I gotta
love
find
it.
that.
I'm gonna kind of start to circle us into land at this point, folks. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, it would be absolutely remiss of me to not start sharing my screen because you all want to see what I've got going on my desktop. Our intro artist, and none of you will know this because none of you heard it, is Alcione, I think, or Alcione Silva, who is an artist based in Brazil, southern Brazil, and he's been active on sets for quite a few years now. He was on Rittenhouse sets. I've got a number of his black cats, and they're absolutely incredible. And he's most recently worked on Marvel Premiere as well. You can find him on Instagram at Alcione, which is ALCIONE.art. Just a southern guy drawing and painting. But his work is just wonderful. I'm just going to scroll through a couple of them here. I'm going to start with this Woman of Marvel Uncut AP.
That's good.
Wow.
It's just awesome work. I love it. A Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey. Just beautiful pieces that he does. And obviously I'm very, very attracted to the female characters that he tends to draw. Let's have a look at this Dangerous Divas that he's got going on here. Snowbird from Alpha Flight. Oh, there's a deep cut.
That's a deep cut. Nice.
Yeah, man. Beautiful incorporation of the owl. I mean, really nice. I mean, his backgrounds too are just so
backgrounds
lush.
Absolutely astonishing. I have a number of his black cats from a number of sets, and he kind of does her against this kind of almost a constellation or star background.
Wow.
Just kind of posed in that frame, and I'll pop those onto the tasting notes as well. But it's just beautiful work. He's done some from the iconic literature set here, which, if I remember correctly, is Achilles Kokonakis, his release. I'm looking at you here, Norin.
I think so.
I think that's his kind of self-published.
I mean, it's
set.
really great. It's a great set.
It is brilliant. Yeah, they did a Christmas version of it. Oh, this is a little video that moves. Let's have a look at that. I like it. I like it when artists do this, especially if there's some sort of
effect.
Yeah. Oh, look at the back of that card. That's beautiful.
Wow. I've been eyeing to get some pieces like this.
That's nice. Oh, yeah, it's got shiny.
Experiment. Yeah.
This is shiny at the bottom here. That's
Foiled.
Marvelous.
Yeah, it's
You
nice.
can have a look at this, folks who are listening. Go to his Instagram feed, and there are fairly near the top as I speak. There are some iconic Christmas literature works, and there's a video on one of them, and it's just brilliant to see it. But he recently went for a phase. Let's look at some of his multi-panels from Premiere, which I believe just deserve a little bit of eyeballs on. I'm hoping you can all see this. Just check that out.
Wow.
That's for free. Is that a quad? That's a quad.
It's a quad.
Jeez Louise.
And it's just incredible work. And there's the other side. So you've got double duty when you pull these, because you've got to do both sides of it, and it's actually each panel is the same size as one kind of regular trading stroke sketch card. So
wow.
Dre, as an artist, do you enjoy that larger palette? I've always been curious about this with Premiere cards. Have we even still got Dre still on the Skype?
might be lagging or something like that.
Sorry,
maybe.
I was muted.
Oh, that's
that's quite all right. I really thought I was going to enjoy because I only did the hinge panels on Premiere, but like the dual panel, they put the hinge, in my thought, backwards, like on the 3 panel and 4 panel. The work area is the part without the gap, but on the dual panel, you have that weird 1/4 inch gap down the center, and that was a real pain for me.
Yeah, because that's down the center where the panels, where you're drawing on both of them, isn't it? So it actually breaks up that space.
Yes, but on the 3 panel and the 4 panels, it's the main work area is kind of on the outside of the fold. So it's like the one they're looking at here, the Storm. It's a consistent canvas. Yeah. So the more space, the better, because it gets really hard to work in the little business card size.
Yeah.
But maybe in future sets I'll get to do some bigger ones.
It's just great. I love these. I mean, he's been Upper Deck has very wisely given him some nice material to work with. I love the way they're so vibrant, they're so full of life. I love his use of color, just the way I'm smitten. I've been oh my goodness, sorry. I'm just gonna we're just ooh and ah. Just if everyone could just listen to us oohing and ahhing over some of his artwork. Gamora, Guardians of the Galaxy. That's just brilliant.
What's the cardstock like, Andre? Are they good to paint on? Are they good cardstock to use?
Depends on the set. Like the premium sets, like Premiere Masterpieces, the nice thick ones, they're really good. You can't get the paper too wet, because I've had a few cards that actually started separating. Which I was able to fix. But on the like on the standard sets, like the film sets, I think it's just like 16-point stock, so you got to be careful that it not to get them too wet, because they actually start like peeling in the center.
Yeah. Wow.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I could quite happily scroll
It
through
does
all this.
sound like a good error card.
That does sound like an error card.
There we go. Tommy will be after that one. Hey, you could sell that at markup.
Yeah.
Why don't you ruin some of your APs and you can double the price to Tommy?
There you go. I'll let one of my dogs play with them for a bit.
Yeah, that's a deep cut error card.
Brilliant. See this one. I love how brave he's been to just have the character just with all that kind of.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I love it. I don't really go in for Premiere because it's quite a rich one to spend on, and I haven't got the cash really.
It's a big gamble. It's a big gamble for that. But I mean, look. I mean, I love. Anytime I see a lot of unused space, and it's not that it's unused. I mean, you have a backdrop, you have the city, and Daredevil's there coming down. You have the loop from his, the weapon. I'm always I love letting the eye wander. Right? Like whenever I see sketch artists do that, I feel like I get to enjoy the whole piece. Such a cool thing to do.
It looks like he's coming out of the card. It really has it really is vibrant there.
It is good. It is good. Just go and check this out. I'm going to do one more thing because I just think it'll be a giggle. Does anyone here? Everyone knows who Bill Sienkiewicz is, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, because I can't spell it for toffee, so I'm relying on Google. So he's right. I can hear myself echoing back now. Has someone got me on out loud? Has it gone? There we go. I can't hear myself anymore. Brilliant. So whatever was happening there. So Bill Sienkiewicz recently posted that he'd done some photo reference of himself, and he posted this photo. So if anyone's not seen this, that Bill Sienkiewicz posing. That's actually him as a photo. So first of all, he looks after himself. Let's be honest.
Good.
He's doing all right. And people have been having fun with it, as you will see. So lots of other artists. So this is Michael Avon Oming has been playing with it. You've really got to go and check this out, folks. I'll put the links on the tasting notes. But loads of artists have been having fun with it. So it's basically, people have just been playing with it. Here we go. I'll just.
Oh man,
that's pretty great.
So go to Bill Sienkiewicz's Twitter feed and just dive in, because people are going nuts with it and they're taking it, and it's gone viral, and they're putting him in homages to his own work. Dre, you might want to get in on the act here. Not that I'm creating any more work for you, but this I believe it was the original work, which is black. So you can only imagine what Bill didn't include. I'll leave that for your delectation. And I was just dying to show Norrin that today, but I thought, let's just show everyone else. But yeah, people have been having an enormous amount of fun with it. So yeah, as you can see,
that's awesome.
It's great. So there we go.
That.
So anyone with a mind to, go and check out Bill Sienkiewicz's butt on Twitter right now. Someone's even done a Lego version of it.
Yeah,
maybe not at work.
No, he's covered it up, so you can probably get away with it. But there we go. If you work from home or are furloughed, curse you, COVID-19, you can look at that on your own time. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for jumping on. This turned into a bit of a party.
It was fun.
And the Florida project is kind of coming to a close. So you guys. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. You guys know how we end our podcast. This is not going to work at all. But on the count of 3, I'd like you to all come together with Enjoy Collecting. Are we ready for this, people?
Let's do it.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it after 3, okay? Because remember Lethal Weapon? They said, do we go on 3 or do we go after 3? So we're going to do this after 3, okay? So ready? 1, 2, 3. Enjoy collecting. Someone said endure collecting. I will find you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. You can subscribe via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. Leave us a message via that link with questions, comments, or just to say hi, and we may even play on the show. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Our podcast is at the MCC Pod on Facebook and Twitter, and you can find links on our Facebook page to the 2 groups MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. On Instagram, find us at MM Collectors and at Sketch Card Hive. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.